It's just as serious to me as the Cuban Missile Crisis in terms of an attack or the 9/11 attack. The president is taking the side of the people who attacked us instead of trying to prevent a future attack. I would say that his performance today will live in infamy as much as the Pearl Harbor attack or Kristallnacht.
Disgraceful. Turning Point USA Communications Director Candace Owens joins me now with reaction to that and more. All right, so what do you think of this MSNBC contributor and the fact that she thinks that the president committed treason, which, by the way, for anyone who's interested, the punishment is death? Go ahead, Candace.
I don't know what's going on all of these leftist networks or where they're getting their information from. It just seems absolutely ridiculous that they keep doing this. It's almost like they're playing historical bingo. Every single day they drudge up a different historical, horrific event that we lived through and try to apply it to Trump because they want people to be fearful. And ultimately what this does is it cheapens evil. It cheapens what we actually lived through. It cheapens what the Jews lived through when they compare him to Hitler. It cheapens what the men died. Absolutely, what they died fighting for. The soldiers of America died fighting for our freedom. It cheapens all of that when they make these comparisons.
Well, and I couldn't agree with you more. And, you know, it's an attack like 9/11 where 3,000 Americans died. Yeah, but I want to move on. Now, we have another sound on tape, Candace, of Jimmy Kimmel. Take a listen to this.
I would rather we had a chimpanzee as president of the United States. At least with a chimp, there would be somebody to eat the bugs out of Rudy Giuliani's hair.
I didn't even get the last part of it, but go ahead, Candace.
Look, I would rather we had a comedian for a late-night talk show rather than Jimmy Kimmel, who gets up there every single night, cries, brings up his child, uses his child as a prop to get other people to cry. So, look, we don't always get what we want, Jimmy. That's all I can say to him. Yeah, but what about this? Well, I don't get the chimp and the bugs and Rudy Giuliani's hair. I mean, what? I mean, to comment on that? He single-handedly ruined late-night TV. I really do believe Jimmy Kimmel does this. He somehow thinks he's like a political spokesperson, tries to be funny. It's never funny. I think that has to be a fake audience. I don't get it whatsoever, but he keeps going on up there, and good for you, Jimmy. Keep it going. Okay. And finally, the young lady, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, on PBS firing line. Take a listen.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes.
Do you think you can expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also just, I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
You know, this woman won I mean, she tossed out in this primary Joe Crowley, who is a Democrat, very powerful Democrat from Queens. She clearly doesn't understand the issues. And I'm not being critical. I mean, she's a very young woman who's never, held office before. But wow, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk about it.
Exactly. That's exactly right. This was my absolute favorite clip of the week. I watched this hundreds of times and laughed out loud. I mean, that moment, I wasn't really expecting you to ask me a question. Usually when I make up a random occupation, no one asks me a question about it. This is hilarious. And I have to say this, Trump needs to put her on payroll. She is the ticket to winning again in 2020. Keep her in front of a camera, Judge.
Well, her candidacy was very much supported by, I think it was the Democrat Socialists of America, and she's an avowed socialist. I mean, there are socialists who are winning elections throughout the country. I mean, the Democratic Party doesn't seem to be in one place or the other. It's like it's all over the place. And by the way, I heard she referred to turning a state red. She was looking forward to it.
Yeah, she did that today, and that wasn't even the worst part of the interview. The worst part of the interview is when the journalist asked her what she thinks about the lowest unemployment rate ever, and she says that the reason the unemployment rate is so low is because people have 2 jobs. I mean, it's incomprehensible. It makes absolutely no sense. She's a comedian. Right. She should take Jimmy Kimmel's job.
All right, Candace Owens, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. And